Welcome to my New Zealand Rugby channel, where the Kiwi spirit and rugby passion come together as one. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my mates. Reflecting on the Sharks personnel situation during this transitional period gives me a lot to think about, not only from a rugby perspective, but also in terms of the human story, long-term strategy, and the identity of a big club that is struggling to rediscover itself. I have the sense that this is more than just a transfer update. It feels like a broader picture of the difficulties, hopes, and internal tensions the Sharks are currently facing. The biggest talking point, and the most emotional one by far, is Kolisi's impending departure from the Sharks to join the Stormers next season. Kolisi is not just a player, he is a symbol, a legendary Springboks captain, and a powerful source of inspiration for both teammates and supporters. His exit from Durban leaves me feeling torn between understanding and regret. Understanding, because family reasons cannot be ignored, wanting to be closer to his children, especially when they are unable to move to Durban, is a deeply human and relatable choice. But regret, because Kolisi was the very soul the Sharks had hoped would help rebuild their winning identity. His departure leaves not only a tactical gap, but also an emotional and leadership void that no signing can immediately replace. Against that backdrop, the fact that the Sharks are continuing to recruit despite not yet having a settled head coach shows they are refusing to stand still. JP Peterson's interim role is clearly a stopgap solution. And it highlights the instability at the top of the organization. It feels as though the Sharks are building the squad while running, firefighting in the present while trying to plan for the future. This approach carries obvious risks, but it also shows resilience, a determination not to let a major blow like losing Kolisi completely derail their plans. The news that the Sharks are close to securing Dan du Preez genuinely excites me. This feels like a pragmatic and well-thought-out decision. The Sharks are crying out for a true number 8, powerful, physical, capable of carrying hard and applying direct pressure. Du Preez fits that profile almost perfectly. Having come through the Sharks system before moving to Sale Sharks and excelling for years in Premiership rugby, this is not a mere stopgap signing, but the return of a player who has matured in both experience and mindset. I'm particularly drawn to the du Preez family story, 3 brothers forging careers in Europe, each on their own path. Dan's return carries a sense of nostalgia and hope. As if the Sharks are reconnecting with their own DNA, the fact that Jean-Luc and Robert du Preez are heading to France also underlines a broader reality. South African rugby continues to export huge amounts of talent, and domestic franchises must compete fiercely with Europe, both financially and in terms of opportunities. The Sharks can't keep everyone, but they can be selective in choosing the right pieces for their rebuild. In that context, missing out on Hanro Liebenberg is disappointing but not surprising. His decision to join the Bulls shows how personal ties and individual direction can outweigh even strong offers from elsewhere. Another detail that makes me cautiously optimistic is the potential return of Stephan Lewies from Harlequins. Even with quality locks like Eben Etzebeth and Marvin Orie already in the squad, depth remains crucial, especially with a demanding fixture list. Lewies brings leadership, composure, and a winning mentality, qualities he clearly demonstrated when captaining Harlequins to a Premiership title. To me, this would be a low-noise, high-value signing, exactly the kind of foundational move a team makes when thinking long-term. On the flip side, reports that Grant Williams could leave the Sharks for Japan do concern me. Williams is a modern scrum half, sharp, creative, and well-suited to a high-tempo style of play. Losing him would force the Sharks to rethink their spine or place greater trust in younger players. Beitho Hlekani is an exciting prospect, but his move to a Johannesburg-based team suggests the Sharks are still struggling to retain all of their most promising talent. The clearest positive, in my view, is the series of long-term contract extensions for several young players. This signals a commitment to sustainable development rather than a short-term chase for marquee names. Retaining players like Fepse Buthelezi, Fez Mbata, and Simfai Ngobis shows that the Sharks are investing in the future and are willing to endure a transitional phase in order to build a more cohesive and stable squad. Ultimately, when I step back and look at the bigger picture, it feels like the Sharks are standing at a crossroads. On one hand, they are losing icons and facing real instability. On the other, they are quietly laying the groundwork for a new cycle, blending returning experience with retained youth. This is not an easy path, and there will undoubtedly be controversy, frustration, and setbacks along the way. But it is precisely periods like this that shape the true character of a great club. As a follower, I feel both anxious and hopeful that the Sharks will not merely survive this transition, but will eventually rediscover the pride and identity that define who they are. Thanks for being part of my New Zealand rugby journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss any epic moments. Big thanks to all the fans.